Hi, we are sitting today with Dana Magdasi, an Israeli lawyer representing intended parents in surrogacy abroad. Hi, Dana. We're talking today about agreements concerning surrogacy abroad. What are the different agreements that such a process entails?
The main and most important agreement would be the agreement between the surrogate mother and the intended parent. This agreement has to contain all the agreed parts from the surrogate mother side and from the intended parent side. It's most important that these contracts will be drafted by a local lawyer that knows the law of the intended parent country and the law of that surrogate mother country, because this agreement has to match both countries' requirements. Some of these agreements must contain the requirements of the intended parent country. For example, some intended parents in some countries require the surrogate mother to sign on all kind of legal papers after birth of the child in order and as a condition for the intended parents to receive a passport for the child, for the newborn. So these conditions must be in the contract with the surrogate mother. As well, the surrogate mother has to know her rights and what she's allowed to do and what she's not allowed to do during the pregnancy. For example, some intended parents would not allow a surrogate mother to eat certain things in order to keep her health, to do some strenuous exercise, or to travel far away from her house. All these conditions intended parents must write in the agreement before signing on this agreement. These agreements are very important as after signing them, side that are requiring for more conditions would have hard time forcing them on the other side if conditions weren't specifically written in the contract. It's very important that you will review the contract and you will send it to a really legal person that can give you a good opinion regarding these contracts in order to avoid legal problems at the end or during the pregnancy. As well, some intended parents will write down the list of the tasks that the surrogate mother is willing to do during the pregnancy, as some of the tasks are not so convenient and have a risk for the child or for the surrogate mother. Most important in the surrogate mother contract to be very specific about the rights over the baby. You have to write a certain consent of the surrogate mother to waive her rights over the newborn from the time he's born at that moment, because it's very important that she knows in advance and she relinquish in advance the right over the baby that will be born for the intended parent. The second contract would be the contract with the clinic, with the fertility clinic, which is a contract that is very important as well. The intended parent has to know in advance what kind of tests the clinic provides for the surrogate mother before recruiting her to the program and also during the pregnancy. So as long as everybody knows what they have to do, the clinic knows what the clinic receives in the amount of payment, and the intended parents know what kind of tests the surrogate mother will have during the pregnancy. So in that case, everybody's happy and everybody's satisfied with the arrangement. Another contract that could be is if the intended parents are using an agency, like an egg donor agency or surrogate mother agency, recruiting the surrogate mother egg donor is also very important to have a contract specifying the amount and specifying the kind of tests they will be doing to egg donor or to surrogate mother, as long as everybody knows what they're paying and what they're getting, so everybody's happy from this arrangement. So it's very advised to check these things in advance and to receive all kinds of copy of the contract in advance, because if you receive it only after you sign the first contract, you cannot negotiate. You cannot negotiate as good as you can do it if you have all the contracts in advance and can negotiate each term of the contract for your benefit.
What are the legal problems that usually arise during the whole process?
The legal problems could be parted into two. The first part would be just starting the surrogate arrangement, all the condition with the surrogate mother, and all the condition with the clinics and with the egg donor agency. This would be like the first legal part of the program. The second legal part of the program would be after birth of the child. After birth of the child, there are a lot of legal issues that can arise. The surrogate mother will have to come and sign in front of the consulate and in front of the high commissioner or whatever the country of the surrogate of the intended parents requires. Sometimes it could be taking out the birth certificate. If there is a name, a letter on the birth certificate that is a little bit, it's not the same as the letter on the contract. All these things have to be checked before the birth, and these things sometimes do arise legal problems. It's very important in order to minimize legal problems, to check in advance with your country if your country allows commercial surrogacy, because some countries banned it, and once you go to do surrogacy and you are intended parents with citizenship of a country, then you have a problem with the baby. Then the legal problem would not be your operation. So it's very important to check all legal procedures before getting into this arrangement. To check whether it's legal to do commercial surrogacy in your country. To check if you have a way to get back the baby. To check that in the place you're doing surrogacy, it's allowed for the surrogate mother to change her mind. Because some countries, like if you go to Britain, Australia, surrogate mother in some terms can change her mind. So it's very important to do it in a country that she cannot change her mind, because you don't want her to change her mind with your children. So, although she's not genetically linked to it, but the law allows her that. So it's very important to check all these legal procedures before getting to these arrangements.
And finally, when do the intended parents become the legal parents of the baby?
In most of the cases, it would be immediately after birth, as the surrogate mother is not genetically linked to the baby. So you have to check that in advance. As I said, you have to check if the surrogate mother has any legal rights over the baby. Most of the countries like Ukraine, Georgia, India, these places, the surrogate mother never had a right over the baby. The baby is not legally her from any point of time after giving birth. In some countries, in the United States, for example, there is like a procedure that you have to do in order to waive the rights and the registration. But most of the countries, the surrogate mother does not have any rights over the baby from the time he's born.
Dana Magdasi, an Israeli lawyer representing intended parents in surrogacy abroad. Thank you for talking to us today.
Thank you.